as our audience is primarily mortgage and sales professionals, is let's demystify, SEO. I know this means different things to different people depending on kind of how they enter this arena. And you've been doing this for quite some time at a rather large scale. So I'd be curious how you would specify and define SEO to the audience.
Well, we could probably answer that two ways, both of which ways we can do pretty simplistically. So one would be, what is SEO, period? So it stands for search engine optimization. The goal is to show up higher on search engines without paying for ads, while still focusing on words you can monetize. So that's how I would define it. Now, what goes into it is probably the other half that people interpreted that question is, you could also answer simplistically, is it's basically three things. And then, there's a lot deeper things within those, but the three things are effectively how good or bad is your site built. So does it load quickly? Is it mobile friendly? Two is content. Do you clearly communicate your value propositions and why you're an authority in whichever industry you're in? And then three is external credibility. So do other websites talk about your brand or link to your website? Now, most of your visibility is going to come from the latter two, the content credibility, but that will only work if you have a solid built website. So from there, we could go a million different directions, but that's how I tend to generalize and simplify.
You said something there that I think is an important question to ask. How do you define a solid built website?
So it's going to be the kind of those technical things of, does it load quickly, right? So my rule of thumb is I aim for 3 seconds or less. Now, that's not, what do I see within 3 seconds? Because a lot of people will misinterpret. So here, we'll give out the free first tool you can use. So there's a really cool website called GT Metrics, metrix.com. If you go there, you type in your website, and what it'll do is it'll tell you how quickly your website loads and what is slowing it down. You'll see two things on there. At the top, you'll see what says LCP. That basically means, what do I see before I scroll? Because you can go to a website, type it in, and you'll see something nearly instantaneously. But what you often overlook is everything below the fold, like where you have to scroll and further down the site. And so we want everything to load in 3 seconds or less, not just the little top frame. So a lot of people misunderstand that. Now, the reason why that's really important is basically you can just look at SEO and go, well, it's whoever makes Google look good. So what I mean by that is, Preston, I'm willing to bet that you do not like a slow loading website, right? And I'm willing to bet that everybody listening will exit and abandon a website if it takes too long. So Google basically says, let's pretend I am an actual human and a user, and what things do I enjoy and what things do I dislike? So a slow loading website will negatively affect your visibility on search engines. So that's one thing, is the speed. And then there's the user experience. So is it mobile friendly? Does it load in an intuitive way, whether it's on your computer versus a desktop versus a tablet versus a phone? And way back, as far as 2016, Google started prioritizing mobile-friendly devices mobile-friendly websites as a priority. Now, they started working on that before that, but in 2016 was when it was very definitive, and they came out and said, you can actually show up in different ways on our search engine depending on how good your mobile version of your site is versus your desktop version. So really, it's just the user experience. Is it easy to navigate? Does it load quickly? Can you see things without, this messy side scrolling and too big or too small a text?
In your experience, you had brought something up there that just made me think of a question I hadn't thought of before. In your experience doing SEO, have you seen it beneficial or just, I guess, deployed where somebody will thematically have a different mobile website versus desktop, like the actual visual is different?
It exists, but not often, and you don't want it to. So part of the algorithms is the consistency in the user experience. So exactly that. If I were to visit your website on my laptop versus my phone, is it dramatically different? Because depending on, let's say, I love website ABC and I go there all the time and I'm usually on my phone, and then, I'm traveling, and so I'm checking it out on the plane on my laptop, and I go, holy crap, what is this? This is completely different. And so the engagement is different. Google will pay attention to how long you spend on a page, how many pages you click on, how you navigate around, which pages you exit on. So it'll pay attention to the consistency across that feed.